Get ready to slay your eyeshadow because today I'm going to be teaching you how to create a super easy and glam cool toned eyeshadow look. I'm going to be breaking it down for you step by step so anybody at any skill level will easily be able to recreate this look. And plus I'm going to be sharing with you all my favorite tips and tricks along with the products and tools I use to create this look. Eyeshadow is easily one of my favorite parts about makeup and I'm so excited to create this video for you today and I hope you enjoy. And I mean, who doesn't love to slay a good eyeshadow look, especially a smoky eye? Ooh, yes, I know I do. So without any further ado, let's jump right in and let's get started. And you know what we need to start this look? You already know, an ice cold Dr. Pepper. That's right, Dr. Pepper is my favorite soda and I always drink one when I'm filming these videos. I mean, it's mandatory for me at this point. Yes, it hits every single time. Cheers! Now I always prefer to do my eyeshadow before my base makeup just in case there's any eyeshadow fallout that would fall out onto my skin. And plus if you do your eyeshadow before you do your foundation, it's going to come out looking a lot better and a lot more clean. It's actually insane. Now to begin the eyeshadow process, it's very important that we always start off with an eyeshadow primer. And for me personally, I love to use a full coverage concealer as an eyeshadow primer. And my favorite concealer to prime my eyes with is definitely the NARS Soft Matte Concealer. This is so incredible, very full coverage, and quite honestly I need to repurchase a new one because as you can see, I barely have any products left in here. And for priming your eyelids, it really doesn't matter how you get this primer on your eyelids, you just gotta slap it on there somehow. You can use an eyeshadow brush, you can use a concealer brush, you can use your fingers, you can use your beauty sponge, you can use whatever the heck you want to get that primer onto your eyelids. And when you're priming your eyelids, just make sure to cover the entire eyelid from your lash line all the way up to your eyebrow with some concealer, because we want to make sure that we use our entire eye space that the universe has so graciously given us. And the shade of this concealer that I'm using today is this shade Affogato. And now that the concealer is all on my eyes, I like to take my beauty sponge and I use it to press the concealer into my eyes just to make it a little bit more thin. I feel like this is the step that really helps the concealer to not crease on my eyelids. And if the concealer doesn't crease on your eyelids, neither will the eyeshadow. Alright, my eyelids are all primed and do you see how blank and fresh they look? Now they are ready for some eyeshadow. The eyeshadow look that I'm going to be creating today is going to be a super cool toned smoky eye. And you know, cool toned eyeshadow looks are super trendy right now, so this look is going to be perfectly on brand for this year. Now the palette that I'm going to be using today is seriously so beautiful. You're literally gonna scream when you see it because it looks so gorgeous. This is the Beauty Bay Smoky Eyeshadow Palette. And as you can see, this eyeshadow palette is a big girl. This palette has 42 different eyeshadow shades and it retails for $40. And if you're looking at me right now and you're like, whoa, what am I gonna do with 42 different eyeshadow shades? Don't worry, because they actually make a smaller version of this with only 16 different shades. And if you're like, listen, maybe 16 is actually too much for me too, they actually make a super mini version of this eyeshadow palette with only 9 shades. And here's what the two mini palettes look like on the Beauty Bay website. You can see that they're exactly the same as this big palette that I have right here, except just mini sized. First of all, this palette comes with a huge, gigantic mirror. It's actually insane. I mean, I could prop this palette up right here and do my entire makeup just looking at this mirror. And then when you take a look at the beautiful eyeshadow shades in this palette, you're just gonna be shook because they're so beautiful. And trust, we're going to be using both the shimmers and the mattes in this look. I want to make this look as easy as possible, so I'm going to show you one of my favorite hacks on how to make your eyeshadow look so incredible like you spent so much time on it. Now hear me out, I know this is a little crazy, but I'm going to take some tape. Specifically this tape that I'm using today is from Sephora and it's actual cosmetic tape. You know, it's not as strong as Scotch tape, so it's not gonna like pull your skin off. So it's completely safe and it's meant to apply to your skin. And you can definitely find some cosmetic tape on Amazon as well, but I'll have this tape that I'm using linked in the description box just in case you want to go ahead and check it out. And I'll have all the other products that I mentioned in today's video down there too, because don't worry, I got you. Now I'm just gonna rip off a little of the tape. It doesn't have to be too long, just enough to go from your outer corner all the way up to the tail of your eyebrow, I would say. You know, this is all I need. Now if you're like, what the heck, I only have Scotch tape in the house and I want to do this eyeshadow look right now, that's okay too. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but you could definitely use some Scotch tape to create this look. I would just make sure to dab the sticky side of the tape off on the back of your hand so you can get some of that adhesive off before applying it to your eye. So for this, I would highly recommend getting a mirror and then placing it down on a table so you could really look down and see your entire eyelid. So I'm going to take the bottom corner of the tape and I'm going to line it up to my lower lash line, basically creating an extension of my lower lash line up the sides of the tape. See, this is my lower lash line and it just goes completely out in the same exact shape as if my lower lash line just like extended and got pulled out, you know? And then I'm just gonna stick the tape down and it's gonna stay there and it will not come off until we're completely done with the eyeshadow look. And once you stick it down, try not to to lift it up and replace it because then the tape will lose the stickiness. And if you're going to be constantly hitting the tape with your eyeshadow brushes, you definitely want it to have some stick to it so it doesn't slide all over the place, because you want to make sure that it stays exactly where it is, because that's where the magic of the hack will come in. Now for me personally, I always love to focus on one eye of my eyeshadow before I do my other eye, and then once it's all complete, I'll do the other eye. You know, I'm weird like that. I don't know. It's just how I do my makeup, okay? You know, you can do your makeup however you want to do it. This is just how I want to do it. So now we're going to start with the very first eyeshadow shade, which is always called the transition shade. And the transition shade should always be your lightest eyeshadow shade that you use. And when you apply your transition shade to your lid, you should always make sure to use a super large fluffy blending brush. And the brush that I'm using is the Sigma E35 tapered blending brush. I'm going to dip into this shade right here called Marble. I'm going to place my brush directly into my crease, and I'm going to start creating some windshield wiper motions. And that's just when you move your brush from the outer corner of your eye to your inner corner of your eye back and forth like a little windshield wiper motion. It's very important to take your time and go slow when it comes to blending. And then once I get to where the tape is on my lower lash line, I'm just going to flick out my eyeshadow shade into the tape. And I mean like blend it into that tape. Don't be afraid of getting eyeshadow all over the tape, because that's exactly what it's there to do. And then once there's really nothing left over on my brush, I'm just going to bring this shade all the way up to my eyebrow, because this shade is really creating that base that you're going to layer the other eyeshadows underneath. And you see, once it's all blended out, you really can't see that I brought it all the way up to my eyebrow, right? But honey, it's up there. It's up there. I brought it all the way up. Alright, and that's the first shade all complete. Super easy. You just gotta take your time with it. Now, if you have not tried out this product right here, you need to. I'm telling you, this is going to be a game changer in your collection. This is the Cinema Secrets Makeup Brush Cleaner, and I have the lemon scented version because I like the way that this one smells better. So essentially, this is an instant makeup brush cleaner. It cleans all the product off your brush instantly. And the best part is that it also dries instantly, so you can use it right away. I mean, I love it so much, I literally bought the jumbo size of the product. And I like to pour it in this little spray bottle because I feel like it's a lot easier to use in a spray bottle. But if you don't have a spray bottle, you can just pour some out into the cap. So all I do is I spray my brush a few times with the cleaner, and then I take my super dirty makeup towel and I just go to town cleaning my brush. I just do some circular motions and the color comes off instantly. I mean, you see that right there? That's what was all on this brush. And guess what? Now this brush is completely dry and I can go right in with some powder. It's insane. I mean, if you're too lazy or you hate cleaning your eyeshadow brushes, this is perfect for you. I literally use this every single time I do my eyeshadow. I don't know where I would be without this. I'm so glad they make it in the extra large version. This is literally 32 ounces. It's crazy. And now as we go in with darker colors, we also want to go in with tinier brushes. So each shade that I apply next is going to require a smaller brush. And this is the Sigma E38 brush, the diffuse crease brush. So you can see the brushes right here side by side, and you can see how this one is a little bit bigger than this one. And now with the Sigma E38 brush, I'm going to dip into the shade called Wolf. And with this shade right here, I'm going to be doing the exact same blending steps. I'm going to place my brush into my crease, and then I'm going to blend it out using some windshield wiper motions. And then once I get to that tape right there, I'm going to flick it out into the tape. And don't be afraid to really flick it out. I mean, basically go all along those edges of that tape. And as crazy as this might look right now, you just gotta trust the process. Now with this second shade that we're applying, since it's a little bit darker, we want to keep it lower than that transition shade. We don't want to bring it all the way up to the eyebrow, but we still do want to bring it a little bit above that crease, just so that you can really see it when you open your eyes. And with both of these shades that I've applied to my eyelid so far, I went in with about 2 to 3 layers of the eyeshadow just to get it to be as pigmented as possible. So right now with this Wolf shade, I'm just building it up to be very pigmented, and I'm not really worrying about those harsh edges right now. And also make sure that that outer corner is pigmented too. See how I'm just bringing it along that tape line? Yes. Now make sure to keep that very first brush that you used on hand at all times, because we're going to need it a bunch throughout this look. So I'm going to go back in with that first brush that we used in the very first shade called Marble, and I'm just going to lightly blend out those edges of that Wolf shade. And I mean ever so slightly. And once there's really nothing left over on this brush, just go ahead and blend it all the way up to that eyebrow. And when you're blending out your eyeshadow, you should always make sure to hold your eyeshadow brushes at the back of your brush. This is going to make sure that you have the lightest pressure on your hand when you're blending out those shades. If you hold it up here like a pencil, you're going to be using a lot of pressure, and that's going to create so many harsh lines. You really want to make sure that your wrist can just move freely, because that is what's going to be doing the blending. Not your fingers, you're going to be using your wrist to just move your hand very steadily. I know, eyeshadow is an art. That's why I love makeup. And I will say, the more you practice doing your eyeshadow, the easier it does get. You really just got to be patient as you go through the learning process. Really, you could stop with the crease right here if that's what you'd like, because it's looking smoky and it's looking very beautiful. But you already know me. I'm very extra when it comes to my makeup, so I'm gonna deepen it up just a little bit more because I'm really going for that smoky effect. I really do just love a good smoky eye, that's for sure. So now I'm going to take an even smaller fluffy blending brush, and this is the Peaches and Cream PC11 brush. You can see the size comparison between all three brushes, and you can see how it goes from biggest to smallest. And then with the smallest fluffy blending brush, I'm going to dip into the shade called Tuxedo. Now this shade, the blending is going to be just a little bit different. I'm basically only going to place this on the outer corner of my eye, and I'm just going to build up the pigment right here by just stamping it on, stamp, 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 and I'm not going to worry about blending at all. And it's very important to use a tiny blending brush with this because you want to keep it very precise. You want to keep it lower than the first two shades that we applied, so that's why I'm basically putting it onto my eyelid. And then of course, once I hit that tape, I'm just going to flick it out. And I'm doing this very, very, very lightly, very lightly. And by very lightly, I mean I'm barely putting any pressure onto my brush right now. And then once all the harsh lines are blended, guess what we're going to do next? We're going to take the first brush that we used with the very first transition shade called Marble, and I'm just going to lightly blend out everything that we have going on so far. And don't forget to flick it out over that tape. Okay, and that is it. That's all the blending that I'm going to be doing in the crease. And all I used was 3 different shades and 3 brushes. And really all we have left is the lid shade. Now I'm staring at these shimmer shades and I'm like, which shimmer shade should I use today? Because I mean, I could do any of these right now. I don't know. They're all so beautiful. It's such a hard choice. The options are endless with this, and I really cannot decide. Why is this so difficult for me? This is not normal. Now for the eyelid shade, since I'm using a shimmer today, I definitely want to make it pop and stand out. So I'm going to go back in with my NARS Soft Matte Concealer, and I'm going to take a flat eyeshadow brush, and I'm using the Peaches and Cream PC20 brush, and I'm just going to pick up a little of the concealer onto the brush. And I'm going to ever so slightly just tap this concealer out all over my eyelid where I want to place the shimmer. And this is essentially just going to brighten up the area where I'm going to place that shimmer so it pops a little bit more. And when you're applying the concealer to your lid, I recommend just stamping it on and then pulling it out to help blend it as you're applying it. Okay, so now with the same Peaches and Cream PC20 brush, I'm going to dip into the shade called Frost. This already looks like a beautiful, super light blue frosty eyeshadow shade. I'm so excited to see what it looks like because I haven't used it yet. Oh my gosh, do you see that beautiful pigment and how intense and blinding it is? Oh my gosh, I'm shook. I love it. Oh my goodness. I don't even know if the camera is picking it up, but when I'm looking at this shimmer shade in the mirror, it is blinding. I'm basically just stamping this all over my lid. And you know what? If you want your shimmer shades to be even more pigmented, you can go in with a clean finger and you can just stamp it right onto your lid, and it's going to apply it very much more intensely. I mean, my eyelid is seriously glowing right now. Now I'm just gonna blend out the shimmer shade a little bit into the smoky eye so it looks a little bit more cohesive and blended. So I'm just gonna go back in with the second brush that we used in the shade Wolf, and I'm just gonna lightly, very, very lightly scratch back and forth along the edges of that shimmer shade, and I'm just gonna blend the 2 shades into each other. And because you know me and I'm super extra, I'm just gonna go back in with my first brush and the transition shade one final time, and I'm just gonna give everything one final blend. Now since I always wear false lashes with my eyeshadow looks, I have to go in with some liquid liner, and I'm going to keep this tape on to use it as a guide as I do my eyeliner. If you're someone who struggles with doing your eyeshadow or wants to learn how to do a wing eyeliner, this is the perfect method to practice your wing eyeliner with, and it's going to be so insanely easy to do. Now for this liner, I'm going to be using my current favorite liquid eyeliner, and this is the Glam Light Calligrapher eyeliner. This has been one of my favorite liners for so long, okay? I've been using it for so many years. I've repurchased this multiple times at this point because it is so good. It's super black, super liquidy, and it's very easy to use and to create a wing liner with. Now, I really cannot talk while doing my eyeliner at the same time because even though I do my eyeshadow and eyeliner every day, I still can't talk during it because I still have to focus very hard because eyeliner is very hard. It is not an easy task, that is for sure. No matter how much you practice, it's still not easy. So I'm gonna do my eyeliner and I'll be right back. Now to actually apply the lash, I'm going to take some tweezers and I'm just going to place the lash in the center of my tweezers. So it should look somewhat like this. And now I'm gonna take my favorite lash glue, and this is the Green Duo lash glue, and it has a very nice brush applicator to it, so you can just brush it right on the strip lash. And as you can see, this bottle of lash glue is so insanely dirty, but this is real life, okay? This is really what my lash glue looks like because I use it all the time. So now with my lash glue, I'm just going to apply a nice layer of the glue along the band of the lash. And by nice layer, you want to make sure that it kind of has a medium to thick coat of lash glue going from corner to corner of your lash. You want to make sure that the entire thing is evenly coated. It should looks somewhat like this. Now I'm gonna set a timer on my phone for 30 seconds. Hey Siri, set a timer for 30 seconds because you wanna let this air dry before you apply it to your eye. Because as this starts to dry down, the glue actually gets tacky. And if you applied it right away, it's gonna slip off and it will not stick. And it will be so hard to apply your lashes. If you give it some time to let it air dry, it's gonna get tacky, and the moment you apply it to your lid, it's gonna stick. It's been 30 seconds. And now, just like the eyeliner, I'm going to make sure that I place my mirror down on a table, and I'm gonna look down into a mirror so I can see my entire eye. And I'm gonna place it as close to my real lashes as possible. And I like to apply the center first, and then once the center is on, I go back in and I attach the inner corner and the outer corner, and I just make sure that they're secure. And if you feel like your outer corner or your inner corner is not sticking to your eye, you can take your tweezers and you can just hold it to your eyelid for a few seconds until it completely sticks and dries down. And then I like to give the lash a few seconds to completely dry and stick to the lid. And then I'll take my pointer finger and thumb and I will squish and sandwich my real lashes along with the fake lashes together just to make it look more realistic. And boom, your lash is on. Now if you want to be super extra just like me and you want to make your lashes look even better, you can go back in with some eyeliner and you can just go ahead and trace a lash band with your liner. It's going to help blend your lash band into your eyeliner and it's going to look so good, and you're not going to be able to tell that you really have a lash band on when you do that. That is a mandatory step every single time I wear some lashes. I have to go over the band with some liner, and basically that way they're unclockable. Now, here is the moment that we've all been waiting for. I'm going to take off this tape and watch the magic that it's created. Oh my gosh, the best part. You see that right there? How cool is that? How unbelievable and how beautiful. It looks like a professional just did my makeup, doesn't it? I'm telling you, this tape hack slays so hard. But I'm not quite done with this look yet because we still have to do the lower lash line. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna finish up my makeup, and then once I get to the point in my routine where I have to do my lower lash line, I will return and I will show you exactly how to do it. You know, I oddly feel like I forgot to mention when I was putting on my false lashes that I apply mascara before I do my lashes. I feel like you ruin the lashes if you do your mascara after you apply them. That's just a personal opinion, but I highly recommend you going in with your mascara and then your lashes. And if you're wondering, my favorite mascara of all time is definitely the Maybelline Sky High mascara. But anyway, now it's time for the lower lash line. So for the lower lash line, all you need is 2 brushes, a pencil brush and a tiny fluffy blending brush. So first I'm going to take my little pencil brush, and this is from Lunar Beauty, and this is the LBE 6 brush. And with this brush, I'm going to dip into the shade Wolf. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to place this pencil brush along the lower lash line, and I'm just going to scratch back and forth to apply the pigment to my lower lash line. And since this is a dark shade, I'm only bringing it about halfway into my lower lash line. I don't want to bring it all the way into my inner corner because that can make my eyes look smaller. So I'm basically going to stop around where my pupil is. And I'm also going to make sure that this is pretty pigmented before blending it out. So going in with about 2 to 3 layers of this shade will be perfect. Now I'm going to take my super tiny fluffy blending brush, and this is the Peaches and Cream PC47 brush, and I'm just going to dip into our transition shade called Marble. And then I'm just going to use this shade to blend everything out. And since this is a super light shade, you could actually bring it all the way into the inner corner because it's light and it will brighten up the eyes. And I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna be patient, and I'm just using some scratching motions to help blend all the harsh edges away, because guess what? We don't know harsh edges here. We don't know her. And that's it for the eyeshadow and the lower lash line. I mean, how easy is that? And I know seeing yourself with the lower lash line all complete is a little concerning because you're like, whoa, that's a lot of makeup. But it took me a few times of wearing it to get used to it, and now that I'm used to it, I can't stop wearing it. I mean, don't you think it just brings everything together? Okay, but we're not completely done with the lower lash line yet. I'm going to take the NYX Cosmetics Vivid Rich Mechanical Liner Pencil in the shade Always Onyx, which is essentially just a black shade, and I'm just going to apply this in my waterline. I love this eyeliner pencil because it's mechanical, so to get more product, all you have to do is just roll it up. And plus, it's super black, it's very creamy, and it lasts all day long in my waterline. Has anyone else been obsessed with The Weeknd's new album, Hurry Up Tomorrow? Because I have. It's been on repeat nonstop ever since it dropped, and I can't stop listening to it. And I have no shame about it, quite honestly. I'm obsessed, fully obsessed. And I feel like he really snapped with this album. I mean, front to back, there are no skips. And now, as you can see, I'm just adding some mascara to my lower lashes. And you already know I have to use my favorite Maybelline Sky High mascara. It's too good on the lower lash line, on the top lashes, just so perfect. And last but not least for this eye look, I'm gonna add a little bit of a pop of some highlighter in my inner corner. So I'm just gonna take the Benefit Cookie highlighter and a tiny pencil brush, and I'm just gonna apply some in the inner corner of my eye, just like that, so it adds a little bit of a pop. And then I'm gonna take my finger and just dab it right out. out. And oh my gosh, I think that completes the eye look. Woo, we made it! And that's it. Here's today's super glam, smoky, cool toned eyeshadow look all complete. And I have to admit, this Beauty Bay Smoky eyeshadow palette is everything. The shadows are so insanely pigmented, yet they blend out just like a dream. They're very creamy and very buttery when you apply them to the skin. And the shimmers, don't even get me started on the shimmers. They are beautiful and so gorgeous and blinding. I mean, come on, this palette is just so beautiful, it speaks for itself. And yet, here it is. It just slayed this look today. I love how this look turned out, and quite honestly, I'm always in the mood for a beautiful smoky eye. And I mean, are you kidding me? This tape method seriously looks like a professional did my makeup. It's so clean, so chiseled, and I'm so here for it. And I really hope that you learned something from today's video that you can incorporate into your own makeup routine. And now, after watching this video, you're ready to slay your eyeshadow. I love that for you. Shout out to you. Of course, as always, I've linked all the products that I mentioned in today's video down in the description box for you, just in case you want to go ahead and check any of them out. I'll be back next week with a brand new video, so make sure to go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss when I upload my next video. And then that way, we can really become makeup besties. And before you go, make sure to leave a comment down below letting me know what is your favorite eyeshadow palette, because if I haven't tried it out yet, you already know I'm gonna add it to that list of products to try out. And if you've made it to this point in this video, thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me today. I had so much fun showing you how to create this wonderful eyeshadow look that I love so much. And I'm just so thankful for your support, so thank you so much. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Oh, and P.S. don't forget to subscribe so that we can truly become besties. I love that for us.